the President of the United States.
In a speech that aimed to counter the perception of a lame duck presidency, Barack Obama delivered an annual State of the Union address that was certainly big on rhetoric. With me to discuss how substantive the speech actually was is Lionel Barber, editor of the FT. Lionel, what struck you most about the State of the Union?
Well, as you say, the president at the moment finds it very difficult to get any business done at all on Capitol Hill. He's got an obstructionist Republican majority in the House of Representatives, and he's finding it difficult to get business through the Senate. So, in a way, this was a typically well-crafted declaration of political impotence, with some caveats. He's interested in pushing the trade agenda, and he's going to use his powers under executive order.
The theme of this State of the Union was supposed to be inequality, and there was a line, a good line about this, that America deserves a raise. But was there anything that had a lot of substance in terms of inequality?
Not particularly. The most important point, as you say, was a proposal to raise the minimum wage for federal workers. He's also looking at some action on worker training schemes, but we have to look at the broader context here. The American recovery is well underway. America may reach 3% growth this year. So the questions of inequality, I think, are still there, but not maybe front and center.
How much do you think he will use executive orders? And when he does, doesn't that put pressure, for instance, for federal workers? Doesn't that put pressure on other employers?
Not so much. The private sector will do what it wants to do. The president is really seeking to reassure his Democratic base that he is capable of some action. Again, if you look at the broader context, after the threat of default in the federal government last year and really lengthy, messy negotiations trying to reach a budget agreement, the Democrats on Capitol Hill and the Republicans, indeed the president, are a bit like heavyweight boxers in the 12th round. They've punched themselves stupid and they're just leaning on each other. And we don't really expect, with one exception, perhaps action, and I think that could be immigration reform, important for the Republicans to reach out to the growing Hispanic population in the States.
What about trade? Because that's what policymakers around the world will be watching.
The Pacific Trade Agreement is the one to watch, including Japan. That, it seems to me, is feasible. Much harder is the transatlantic free trade area as such, where the French have got major reservations. What the president, I think, needs to do is win the battle, win the argument in favor of Trade Promotion Authority, when he essentially can put up an agreement which isn't then picked apart with amendments by the Republicans and Democrats. And he's got a very difficult road to plow there because, frankly, the trade debate has shifted dramatically over the last 20 years. The natural majority on the Hill has just withered away.
As you know, presidents in their second terms usually take bold initiatives, particularly on foreign policy. Yet President Obama has been very cautious on foreign policy. Do you expect that to change?
Not really. It's astonishing to me how cautious the president has been. I don't see him in any way doing, say, a Nixon in 73, 72, 73, or say a Reagan in his second term, where he did important arms controls with Gorbachev. He's essentially withdrawing from Afghanistan. We know there was an agreement to withdraw troops in Iraq. These are winding down the old Bush wars. The exception, again, there's an important exception, is the nuclear agreement with Iran. We have an interim deal aimed at containing Iran's nuclear program. Question is, can he get to a comprehensive deal? Many people feel that it's a narrow timetable, maximum a year. That's still going to be difficult. But if I had to think about one initiative where the president is going to put his money on, that's the deal with Iran. And he's threatened a veto of any congressional action to impose further sanctions on Iran to force them back to the negotiating table.
Lionel, thank you very much.
Thanks, Roula.